must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
You know, when one is asked to talk about leadership in Africa, one's mind wanders in many directions, because in the recent past, the continent of Africa has been the subject of scrutiny from many quarters. There are those who are Afro-pessimists and take the view that Africa will never realize our potential. There are those Afro-optimists who take the view that the jury is still out on the success or otherwise of the continent of Africa. I am an Afro-optimist. I take the view that this continent has had a glorious past, and that this continent has had her trials and tribulations, but her better days are in the future. There are those who, when talking about Africa, are in the habit of dealing with Africa as if it were one monolithic block. They do not recognize that the beauty of Africa is in her diversity. And indeed, when you care to undertake a geographical survey of Africa, you will be amazed at what the West of Africa offers, what the center of Africa offers, what the South of Africa offers, what the Horn of Africa offers, and what the North of Africa offers. That is the continent that we are talking about today. And we are talking about her because she continues in many ways to punch below her weight. And many are the commentators who take the view that the reason why she continues to punch below her weight is because the men and women who have had the privilege and honor to serve her in different political capacities or leadership capacities have not served her well. There may be merit in that assessment, but those who are quick to judge, those whose only claim to fame is that they are professional fault finders, must ask many questions before they judge and condemn Africa unfairly. This continent, and I remember, and if we are to judge this continent fairly, we must go back to the past and look to the past and ask about this continent. And there are many who have written about this continent. How many of you here will forget the great writings of Senegal's Anta Cheikh Diop, who has documented in many ways the glorious past of the continent of Africa, the great kingdoms in Africa. When Europe was still in the caves, Africans were building monuments. If they were not building them in the Ashanti Empire, they were building them in Monomotapa here in Zimbabwe. And there is a sense in which all those have been consigned to the Museum of History. And those who look at Africa see Africa as a scar on the conscience of humanity, not remembering that they were themselves co-authors of Africa's misfortunes. We are the only continent and the only people in the world who have been commodified How many of you will remember that agrarian Europe had to commodify Africa in order to realize our level of development? At one time in those early days, we will remember, even as we talk about leadership, that half of the population of this continent was taken away. If they were not taken away from Ghana, which they then christened Gold Coast, they were taken away from Angola. If they were not taken away from Angola, they were taken away from Mozambique. If they were not taken from Mozambique, they were taken from Senegal. If the Arabs were not taking us, the Europeans were taking us. If the Europeans in their different tribes were not conquering us, they were stealing from us. Those are the realities that we don't talk about when we talk about this continent. And you know, if one cares to judge the African continent, one must be historically conscious. The oldest African country after we regained our independence from greater chief. And the question that we must ask ourselves, why is it that this continent finds ourselves in that space? If it is not Europe summoning us, it is the United States of America summoning us. Everybody is in the business of summoning us. One may ask, what has this to do with leadership? You know, I listened to the Chinese president speaking in eloquent Mandarin, saying how the relationship between Africa and China is a mutually beneficial relationship. He spoke about Africa as if it was one country. He did not remind himself, in my mind, that there are 55 countries in Africa, or 54 if you ask Morocco. And I listened to the Chinese president specifically mentioning the Gambia and a few words on Sao Tome and Principe, that they were welcomed back to the world because they had renounced their relationship with Taiwan and they had now recognized the one China policy. Do I say this because there is anything wrong with China? No. I'm saying this because the Chinese are providing leadership for their people. They know exactly what they want for their people, and they are doing exactly what they want for their people for the benefit of their people. The question that I'm posing to us, do we know what we want for our people? Are we doing what we need for our people? And the answer is, I doubt. Why do I doubt? I doubt because at the end of the entire enterprise, the Chinese president said that he had given, or his government had given, 60 billion United States dollars to 54 African countries. Notionally, therefore, each country would be entitled to no more than 1.5 billion. Half of the presidents who are present in China, each one of them, half of them, can produce 1.5 billion. Sportsmen in Europe and America, including boxers, can earn $1 billion in a single bout. And we are here celebrating and singing the praises of China because they gave us 60 billion. Once again, it is a statement of their ability to recognize what leadership is all about. I'm submitting to us that when we interact with people like the Chinese, there is something to learn from them. We may condemn them at forums such as this, but there is wisdom in asking ourselves, how is it that this country, which about 30 years ago could not feed half our population, has in 30 years during our lifetime succeeded in pulling up nearly 800 million people out of poverty? How is it that every road that is now being built in Africa, whether the road is in Benin, or in Nairobi, Kenya, or in Johannesburg, South Africa, or in Kigali, in Rwanda, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, there is a Chinese firm whose name I cannot pronounce as the contractor for that firm? How is it? How is it that China, which about 30 years ago did not produce a mobile phone, today, out of every 10 mobile phones, we are using 6 which are from China? If it is not Techno, it is some other phone. If we are not inviting Jack Ma, we are inviting another Chinese, because we have seen that they have the ability to organize their affairs. Some of us, particularly those of us who are in the middle class, our pride is that our child is learning Mandarin as a second language, not isiZulu, Mandarin. I fear, Bishop, that in the next few years, when they bring their children for baptism, and you ask them, how do you name this child? They'll say, Deng Xiaoping Simfiwe. I'm still talking about leadership. We have seen what leadership can do. Leadership has catapulted China to another completely different orbit. We have seen that leadership has catapulted South Korea to a different orbit. We have seen that leadership has catapulted Vietnam, which was bombed to the ground in 1975. Vietnam now produces more coffee than all African countries combined. What have they done? The men and women who have been given the opportunity to serve those countries long recognize that leadership is about service. And I can't agree more with the Honorable Minister who spoke before me and the good Dr. Aaron who spoke before me, that the true essence of leadership is self-discovery and self-esteem. You know, where I come from in my tribe, and I know in many African communities, when you do something very well, they say, you have done it like a white man. When you arrive on time, they say, he has arrived like a white man. When you speak well, they say, you spoke like a white man. When you dress well, you dress like a white man. When you go to a beautiful place in Africa, you say, it does not look like Africa, as if Africans are incapable of doing the right things. And I'm telling us that until the day that we exercise the ghost of low self-esteem, Africa is going nowhere. I'm submitting to us that history has demonstrated times without number that personal conquest is the beginning of true leadership. If you don't conquer yourself, you are going nowhere. And I'm submitting to us that Africa must now recognize that whatever institutions you have, until and unless it is populated by men and women who have ideals, those institutions will collapse, never to be put together again. So going forward, ladies and gentlemen, I hold the view that a conference such as this, that brings together men and women who recognize that Africa should occupy her pride of place amongst the Committee of Nations, must be a conference at which we speak to each other honestly. I think we Africans have been too kind to each other for too long. The time has come that we must annoy each other. It is only when we have annoyed you sufficiently that we can canalize that anger, and that anger can then be used to move mountains. And my joy is that Africa is not sleeping. My joy is that Africans are now beginning to wake up to the reality that we have not only the intellectual wherewithal, but that we have the resources to make our countries grow and grow in the proper direction. You know, not so long ago, and not so long ago in this case means about 50 years ago, I read and listened to the leaders of the early days. If you listen to any one of those leaders, the clarity with which they were able to identify the problems of Africa and the clarity with which they were able to prescribe the medicine that could solve the problems of Africa was as titillating as it was as astounding. You know, I listen to the more casual works and I read the casual works of a young leader in the 1980s, such as Thomas Sankara. You know, Thomas Sankara is a young individual whose claim to formal education was not very much. He did not hold any PhD. He was an army officer. He overthrows the government of Upper Volta, and he goes into government and poses the question, why are we called Upper Volta? And he says the first thing that we must do is to change the name of this country so that it becomes Burkina Faso, the land of the upright man, and that the people of this country must be called the Burkinabe, the upright people. And he says we have been suffering with hunger and food shortages for too long. We have depended on France for too long. We can no longer be children and toddlers in our adulthood. We cannot be in economic and political diapers for too long. And he begins to release the country. And no sooner has he succeeded in doing this than the erstwhile colonial power says that this is a bad example. And they eliminate him. And not only Thomas Sankara. I remember the man for whom I am named in 1961, Patrice Emery Lumumba, only aged 36, and he recognizes, and on that day of independence, not being scheduled to speak, he speaks nevertheless, and he says how happy he is that the history of the Congolese will be written by the Congolese, and they take him away. I listened to Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah saying that Africa cannot be free unless the whole of it is free. I look at the casual works of Bantu Stephen Biko. I listen to the casual works of Samora Moises Machel. I read the casual works of Modibo Keita in Mali. I look at the works of Agostino Neto, the works of Africans who are clear. And those of you who are alive, then you could see that the indices of development in Africa were moving up north. If it was not infant mortality that was beginning to be lowered, it was maternal mortality and crude death rates. Africa was moving. But remember that Charles Darwin is still right. In this jungle that we call the world is survival of the fittest and the dying of the least suitable. When we begin to rise as a people, there are those whose only claim to success is to put us down, to tell us, not in so many words, that we are children of a lesser God. It is our duty to tell them that we are not. And that is why we have forums such as this. You know, there are those who may say, and I'm one of them, that perhaps in Africa we hold too many seminars, that we hold too many conferences, that we hold too many colloquia. But I hold the view that these things must be repeated time and time again, so that if they are clear, they become even clearer. Is it not true that gold must be in the fire and the furnace before it is refined? Is it not true that Africa has men and women, the 1.2 billion of us, that we have the ability to catapult this continent to a higher level? You know, there was a time that Africa deluded herself, that a leader was one in the nature of Moses, communing directly with God, and that this leader had a rod and staff, and that he would part the Red Sea of disease, and disease would disappear by a pronouncement of abracadabra. That this leader would call and summon manna from heaven, and manna would fall. No, that is not leadership. Leadership is all of us each one of us, in our little villages. The great American Ralph Waldo Emerson was right when he said, when we want the world to be clean, don't complain about the dirt in the world. Sweep your front yard and let your neighbor sweep their front yard. And lo and behold, when we have all swept, the world will be clean.
Wherever you're watching us this morning or afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're watching us from, this is Good Morning Africa coming to you all the way from Nairobi in Kenya. I am Miriam Ogutu, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. Later on, Dr. David Matsanga will be joining me, and we're going to look at a focus on judiciary and corruption, the dam money. I think a scandal that has hit the headlines in the Kenyan local news and also across the world, the dam scandal, and was it or was it not lost? So Dr. Matanga has some details on that, and I've read in the papers this morning some new details are emerging on the companies that are involved in some of these the scandals and the tendering process. And also in the diaspora dispatches, the long road to peace in South Sudan, will the Vatican bring sense of sanity? Right now, I think the two leaders, the major leaders of South Sudan, are meeting with the Pope at the Vatican. So we want to see, will the peace hold? That was the peace agreement that happened last year in September. And remember, Riek Machar has until very few, I think, weeks until May for him to return to Juba and see that the peace deal, has really come into effect, and he should be back there as the vice president. But so far, we've not seen much happening in regards to that. So people have been wondering, and even human rights watch groups across Africa and indeed in South Sudan have been raising red flags because there have been some wars that has been experienced, and people have continued to lose lives in some places in South Sudan. So that is something that we'll be looking at, the long road to peace in South Sudan. And will the Vatican bring sense of sanity? Will the meeting with Pope make a difference and maybe change the hardlining positions that these leaders have held on since the falling apart of the peace deal that followed shortly after South Sudan gained its independence? So that is something we will be looking at, and also we'll be going through some of the headlines news-making headlines in the local newspapers in Kenya later on when Dr. David Matsanga joins me on set. I am Miriam Ogutu, and right now I'll just like us to go straight to the African headlines and see what's really making the headlines this morning from the motherland, being the 10th of April 2019. And we start with South Africa, where security forces and health services on Tuesday sent material relief to its neighbors hit by the devastating cyclone that ravaged parts of South Africa in March 2019. The donations were specifically to Mozambique and Malawi, with the relief mission consisting of the Army, Police, and Department of Health flying to both countries with what was food and material relief. And we go to Egypt. President Donald Trump of the United States has described his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as a great president, doing a great job in the North African country. The two leaders met at the White House on Tuesday during an official visit by the Egyptian leader. This trip is his second meeting with Trump in a space of 2 years. We go to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and 11 people were on Monday injured in clashes between supporters of President Felix Tshisekedi and his predecessor Joseph Kabila in Lubumbashi. The supporters clashed during election campaigns for governorship in the Haut-Katanga province. Democratic Republic of Congo was set to hold the gubernatorial elections for its 26 provinces on the March 26th. However, they were postponed by President Felix Tshisekedi due to allegations of vote buying among provincial delegates. And we go to Algeria. where the lawmakers on Tuesday appointed the Upper House Chairman Abdelkader Ben Salah as an interim president following the resignation of Abdelaziz Bouteflika after weeks of mass protest against his rule. Protesters who were demanding sweeping democratic reforms are opposed to figures like Ben Salah, a close associate of Bouteflika and in his inner circle who dominated Algeria for decades. Upon stepping down last week, Bouteflika promised that elections will be held after 90 days. As a part of transition, he said, would usher in a new era. And the Global Partnership for Education, GPE, is putting up to $176.6 million in a new grants to work in supporting high-quality schooling for children in Benin, Burundi, Nepal, Papua New Guinea, Tanzania, and Uzbekistan. The grants were approved by the GPE Board of Directors. That I'm sure will go a long way in uplifting the education standards in some of these countries. And we go to Uganda, where the body of a Saudi tourist who fell and drowned in the River Nile in Uganda while apparently trying to take a selfie has been recovered, police have said. Alu Sabai Makhtar was with friends at the popular Kalagala Falls in the central Uganda when he slipped and fell into the river on Saturday. And we go to Zimbabwe, where the government said on Monday it will start compensating white commercial farmers whose properties were seized nearly 20 years ago under President Robert Mugabe's land reforms. In a statement, the Finance and Agriculture Ministries said they had budgeted up to 53 million Zimbabwean dollars. That amounts to about $18 million in payments to former farm owners affected by the land reform program and who are in financial distress. 2 decades ago, Mugabe's government carried out at times violent evictions of 4,500 white farmers and redistributed the land to around 300,000 black families, arguing it was readdressing imbalances from the colonial era. And we move to South Sudan, where the president of South Sudan and Salva Kiir and his rival, former rebel leader Riek Machar, are expected at the Vatican for a 2-day special retreat later or today. News of the retreat has caused considerable surprise, especially given the history between the two men. And we move to Nigeria, where at least 20 people have been killed when 2 villages were attacked in Kaduna State in northwest Nigeria. A local official in Kajuru local government area told the BBC that following Monday's attacks, people are still searching for other victims in the bushes outside the villages. And in Mozambique, which was badly hit by Cyclone Idai and flooding late last month, has provided anti-cholera vaccines for close to 1 million people. Mozambique's National Director of Medical Care said that the vaccination campaign has succeeded in covering 84% of the target. And we go to Sudan again as protests continue in Sudan. The United Kingdom, United States and Norway, also famously known as a Troika, have urged the government to respond to the demonstrators' demands in a serious and credible way. In a statement, the countries call for the government to release all political detainees and lift the state of emergency which was imposed by President Omar al-Bashir last month. And we end with Cameroon, where dozens of people in Cameroon have defied a ban on protest to take to the streets of the capital, Yaoundé, calling for the release of detained opposition politician Maurice Kamto. He lost last year's presidential election and was arrested in January following another protest. Along with dozens of supporters of the opposition MRC party, he was charged with sedition, insurrection, and inciting violence. So that is the latest this morning coming from the African continent. Remember, Dr. David Matsanga will be joining me just in a short while, and we'll be looking at the focus on judiciary and corruption, I think with a special focus in Kenya, and also the dam scandal that have hit the headlines lately. And we'll see what is the latest. And was the money stolen or was the money not stolen? Was it lost or was it not lost? So I think Dr. Matsanga will have the answers to that question. And also the long road to peace in South Sudan. Will the Vatican bring sense of sanity? While I was going through the news headlines, of course, we see that the leaders in South Sudan are expected, that is President Salva Kiir, together with the former, I think, according to the new peace deal, Riek Machar is still, deputy president, and he's supposed to go back to Juba and take up that position, which he's expected to do that. By now he hasn't, but he's supposed to do that, I think, in May, and see if the peace that was, signed last year in September will hold. And so it has been a bit fragile in South Sudan, and as we talk here, a lot of our viewers from that area have been writing to us and painting the picture of what exactly is happening in South Sudan. So not so much, and not so much to smile about. Matter of fact, recent research that was carried out, Sudan was named the country, with the least that was unhappy in the world. Sudan was the #1 country that was unhappy in the world. And when you look at the statistics and the news that have been coming and the deaths that are being reported and the war that continues and the bullets that continues to fly in some parts of South Sudan, then you can see where that research was coming from. So there's a lot going in there. And so the meeting of these two leaders at the Vatican with the Pope, perhaps later on today, on the day, might bring some hope in terms of reconciliation and really finding this peace that has been elusive in this African country, and see if it can hold and if these two leaders can come together for the greater good of the people of South Sudan. So that is something that we will be looking at. And just in a nutshell, ahead of the start of the implementation of the peace deal that is meant to end a brutal civil war which erupted in since December 2013. It's a brutal war that has claimed a lot of innocent lives in South Sudan since December 2013. And according to the Vatican press services, Sudanese President Salva Kiir and, of course, Riek Machar and religious leaders in South Sudan will participate in a spiritual retreat for peace in the country, build that will happen today and tomorrow. It's a 2-day visit. So that came as a surprise. Nobody really expected that to happen, but it is happening, and I hope that they've both showed up. Remember, according to the United Nations, the war in South Sudan has so far claimed about 380,000 lives and displaced more than 4 million people. This is not just figures. It's not just statistics. These are people, and this is, I think, 380,000 people over and above. I think others have not been captured, especially the latest figures that have been coming and the latest deaths that are being reported by the Human Rights Watch group across South Sudan. I don't think the latest numbers have been captured in these statistics, but you can see this is no small feat. This is 380,000 people have been dead so far since the eruption of this war in December 2013, and these two leaders are still going at it with each other, taking very headlining positions. I don't know for the greater good of who, but that is what has been happening, unfortunately. So perhaps the meeting with the Pope will bring some sanity, and that is something that we'll be looking at. Will that make a difference? Will that make them change their hardlining stance? Will that soften their hearts? Will that make them understand that, for you to be a leader, actually, you need people that are alive, that are fed, that are well to lead. And that is not the situation right now in South Sudan. And of course, our viewers, wherever you're watching us from, you can let us know what is happening. And if you have any news coming from South Sudan, I'll be happy to share with the rest of our viewers. So thank you very much. So I'm just going to take a very short break, and Dr. David Matanga will be joining me on the set, and I will continue with some of this news across Africa and indeed the topics we have for you for the day. So please do not go very far, because we have a lot to talk about today on the show. Good morning, Africa. We will be right back.
I'm Paul Mulagoli, a resident in Nyeri County. I've got services, fast delivery of services. Today I've got my clearance from EACC. I've also got my good conduct in less than 30 minutes. So before I could have walked to Nalombi, used my day, and maybe I will not even get all the certificates I required. So I can thank the President of the Republic of Kenya for this initiative of Huduma Kenya. We have got services, free delivery of services, 2 minutes, one is gone, and I commend him. This is the service we want.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Punchline Africa Television, and the show is Good Morning Africa. We just taken a short break in the first quarter of the show. And right now, I'm joined by Dr. David Matanga to take us through the rest of the show. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Thank you very much for the first part,
Karibu sana.
Of which you did fantastic. I can't believe it. I hope those watching us all over the world, wherever you are, you are impressed with our performance, especially with Miriam. And she is my partner. Whenever she's not here, I feel lonely. But I'm now back. That's why I have the strength and the courage, the determination, and above all, the hope added with faith that one day the question of corruption in Kenya will be the past of the past. Talking about corruption and the judiciary in Kenya, so many stories still continue to amaze us. Most of the Kenyans and most of us Africans who are in this country called Kenya, we look so amazed. Last night, some of us did not have a good sleep at all. If you watched some of the things that were happening, speeches that were being made by people whom we expected to give us hope, to give Kenyans hope and a determination to fight corruption, their spirits were sunk to the lowest last night. We still continue with the same bravado, the style of saying, well, 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 and well. That's all I had yesterday. I saw it. But it is not for me, Kenyans. And I want to say this. I've received a lot of those insults, especially from a particular group. But it is okay. I will take those insults. But I'm not President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I wish you could direct these insults directed to President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. But me being a friend of the people of Kenya for a long time, being a person who stood by the people of Kenya at the time of ICC and at the time of all this throughout, I am not going to be bothered by the insults. I will stand to say the truth, what is ailing this country. On the question of corruption, the courts, Miriam said it, and I will be very particular. The courts have failed this country. The judgments coming out of court are very appalling. Yesterday, Mr. Obado was told to go and have murdered the witnesses. To be very honest, such a judgment amounts to saying go and kill all the evidence. And the one thing that annoys me with these judges, especially Justice Lesit, she looks so organized, but yet not organized. Why is she leaving the two gentlemen in prison? They are on remand in the industrial area. Oyamo and another gentleman who were merely accomplices of the main crime. The person who had sex with this lady is Mr. Obado, where the problem came from, and he was released. But these two gentlemen need justice. Don't you think so, Miriam?
I think, yes, on this case, it's a bit very not fair. Because if all of these two gentlemen who are accomplices allegedly to Mr. Obado are still in the police remand, I don't understand why Mr. Obado gets to walk away free. But also that also talks about what the problem we have in our judiciary today. You can always buy your way out of the system. And that has given a lot of these people who have the money a loophole to just think that they can just do things with impunity, because that is what is happening. And then you allow this person to still access the scene of murder. What are you doing as a judge? It does not make any sense.
So when we talk about the judiciary and the corruption in Kenya, that's exactly what we mean. What is this criteria that Justice Lesit is using to release Obado and detain the two gentlemen? They committed the same offense. They are charged on the same offense under the same paperwork and the charge sheet. What has happened to our justice? Is there justice in the courts? I don't think there is. Looking on and moving forward, President Uhuru Kenyatta, wherever you were in Mauritius, as you go on your 4-day visit, Your Excellency, you might not have a Twitter handle at the moment, or you might not have your Facebook working, but I believe you are watching all the news coming from Kenya today. The people are saying, and millions, not only me, millions are saying this question of corruption, if you hand it over to the same court, which has the same people of what they are doing right now, Your Excellency, it is as good as you have told us, or you have told the people of Kenya that let's get stuck and die together. It is a shock. It has shocked so many. What is going to change in the courts? These guys, even if you arrested the ministers that everybody wants today, arrested. Everybody is saying arrest those people, arrest those people. Mm-hmm. Even if you take these ministers in court, they will walk out tomorrow. They will walk out tomorrow. All you see in Kenya now is you just steal the money, tell your wife that keep some of it somewhere, and then when they ask for bail, you come with relative X from far, from Nandi, from where, from Turkana, from Mombasa, to bail me out. That's all. That's all. And I show his deposit of bank statement of 150 million that is capable in case this man runs away. That is the process. So what is the problem with the Kenyan law? Is it the Kenyan law that is wrong? Can we change the criminal justice system to make sure that penalties are brought on people who commit economic crimes to change the whole scenario of the Chief Justice not to complain? I
think by now we know, and I think our legislators must be understanding this, that our criminal justice...
Do we have legislators, Miriam?
Needs to be relooked and needs to be legislated upon and needs to be changed, and that is their work to do that. So maybe the court will give them suggestions. I don't know what will happen, but it is apparent that we cannot escape. We need changes so that some of these loopholes, some of these, they find ways of getting out of the loop needs to be sealed, and we need some legislation to change that in terms of our criminal laws and how some of these cases should be handled, especially the cases that are of very much public interest. And our legislators, this is something that they should look at very, very seriously. But unfortunately, a lot of them are involved in some of these cases. I would not think they want something that will, will affect them, as you know how they make these laws.
do we really have the parliament? Is your parliament capable of making these laws? Honestly?
That is yet to be seen. But
the parliament, which is also divided on the question of corruption, the parliament that is saying,
yes,
our man is being targeted, as if this man was born with them.
That will be a tall order, but
yes, all these people were born with them.
Yes,
everybody is covering the back. Now the heat. The heat in Parliament has turned on Raila Amolo Odinga.
You see that?
Yes, have you seen that? the heat is turned on Raila Amolo Odinga. Yet Amolo Odinga took a step forward to make sure that this country is peaceful. Someone does not want a peaceful Kenya at all. Someone does not want a peaceful Kenya at all. And this is in blood of people. And you cannot go on, let's talk. There is someone here who does not want a peaceful Kenya. And that's for me, that's what I can conclude. If maybe you have a different thing, but for me, there is a person in this country who does not want a peaceful Kenya at all.
Well, I think
a person who threatens people, a person who walks shadow way, shadow way operative, somebody who wants to threaten people. That, okay, you try this, I'll try this. Have you seen the language where we are heading?
It's very dangerous.
Have you seen where we are heading?
And I don't think the country needs.
I was in the ICC watching, defending, standing firm. Have you seen where the signals that we are bringing back again?
I hope.
Oh, Raila told me this. Oh, Raila is saying this. Oh, what is going on here?
Called and tried to make back.
What is going on here? So the real aim now today we have discovered, it is the Raila's entry into. From yesterday, I concluded this. I tell you, Miriam, I concluded it. You know, Kenyans, some of them don't want me to speak. But this is not the only place where you can be on planet Earth. Jamen. This is also part and parcel of a global market. You might also need this place one day where people are. You might. In 1980s, we Ugandans were called Wakimbizi. I'm telling you, Kenyans used to laugh at us in those drinking places in Nairobi West. Where were Mukimbizi? Wakimbizi.
Refugee.
When I arrived in London in 1987, how many Wakimbizi did I see in Kenya? Whom I helped to fill identity cards. They couldn't fill English. How many? So mustukane watu wakimbizi every day, muwo Uganda and all what, you might also reach there. With the type of leadership I'm seeing here, with the type of leadership here, this leadership of yesterday on television, this one, we are going to reach there. When we start not accepting that Raila Amolo Odinga has done something. I was one of the chief critics of Raila Amolo Odinga. But here I am. The step he took to say thank you very much, let's shake hands. Whether it is bad, whether it is what, whether it is whatever, whether he was given what, I don't want to know. But I want to know what is this, that the peace I saw in Kenya, that I'm able to go to Kisumu, David Matsanga, have my food, and come back home. That's all. Many of you might think it is a joke, but I'm telling you, the language here, unless the president comes down and stamps authority, this type of language of gossiping and rumor mongering on television saying, our Raila called me. Why didn't you tell us? Why? Why didn't you tell the public that Raila called me at night? So what? He called you and the peace is holding. The peace is holding in this country. The peace is holding in this country. You want to damage it. I used to tell Riek Machar the same thing. Yesterday it is me who made a telephone call for Riek Machar to have even a visa from St. Gideon, from Dr. Fabio. You people, we might be silent unsung heroes. Look at me. Some people, because I don't have the money and I have not looted money, they think I'm stupid. It's only the money I lack, but the brain I have, the contacts I have. I can also cause chaos if I wanted. I had to pick a phone to call my only contact in the Vatican. I went to that Vatican where they are going to sit today, St. Matthew residence. I sat there in 1998 with the same man whom I picked a phone to talk to somebody, and I had to pick a phone again to talk to the chief of staff of Bashir, who is under siege. Well, how would Riek would have left? Jamen. Mnakuja kwa television mnatisha watu. This tisha ringi watu italeta shida. Raila has done what he can do. Whether he got what or what, for the first time, Raila made a step pieces in this country. Let's give him a credit. Your differences with Raila, put them aside. Some of us knew Raila way back when you people were still in school uniforms. Ah! Some of us, 1982, where were you? Where were you? Tell the world. Unatisha watu. Why are you, what is this? Threatening people all the time. I knew Raila in 1982, Jamen, after the coup in Kampala. I was working, earning a salary. Tell me where you were. Where were you? The people writing these stupid things on Twitter, where were you? Were you modeled in your mother's womb? I helped. I respected Raila Amolo Odinga. For the first time, he made a step and agreed to cross over, shake the hand of His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Peace returned in this country. This country was going. Business was stuck. And I'm going to speak as an elder. You might have the money, but you don't have the wisdom. Let's be honest today. Where is the wisdom? Raila Amolo Odinga took a step. Kenyans should take Raila Amolo Odinga's gesture seriously. And help the peace, help the president to maintain this peace. Let's not go in the route of Sudan. Let's not go, don't listen to any stupid man telling you that let's go and fight again. We people who come from a place where we have been killing each other for more than 25 years, we know what it pains to be in a war. Some of them who talk don't even know how to cock a pistol or a gun. Do you know? Put your children in the front then. Miriam, I'm angered. You touch Raila Odinga instead of fighting corruption. We are not, I'm not a vigilante. I'm an intellectual. Anybody thinking I'm a vigilante like Boniface Mwangi, who has his pigs and address them, take them near parliament with blood, I don't do that. But I can defeat you on intellectual level. Bring an exam. We shall defeat each other. And I will speak. My vigilance is here. I'm not a policeman to arrest. Neither am I alleging anybody has taken any money. I am looking at the facts. Haven't you seen the facts?
Yeah, the facts speaks for themselves.
Yes, the facts. Blame game erupts in ODM. There is another Raila Kenya will change this year. Yes. Now, the facts of this, coming to the number 2, for the president to win the war on corruption, Your Excellency, please, the court cannot remain the way it is constituted, with the Deputy Chief Justice in court, 5 judges hanging with petitions, the Chief Justice himself, if the petition, even if it was removed, he's dented. Now, the only judge left is Isaac, who messed me up in my petition.
So you have a problem.
I have a problem, but I have not. I am mature.
Is it a legal problem?
Yes.
You could go with
it is even worse.
And lay a
don't, ma'am, when I am like this now, don't try to ask me about I lost my money.
Okay.
My hard-earned money. I traveled to the ICC to serve the chief prosecutor with documents to Hague, to where? To Geneva, Ocampo, where? Kofi Annan. Who's paying me? Who's paying me? When I took that case of work envelope, I lost. One judge went took me to Nairo River, then we went to Athi, in Zoya River, then we came back, then we arrived in Tanzania, Kagera, when we, Wagwan, don't.
You went to Kagera?
Yeah, that is the distance we moved.
Okay. Just trying to calm things down.
Yes, calm it. I lost my money. Who was paying me to be on a flight? None of these people. Mr. Arusei is with me. Arusei represents the Kalenjin elders in that petition. Go and see the language. The English is Matsanga. I wanted to help Kenyans such that tomorrow, if this stupid woman called Fatou Bensouda, I don't have good words for any of those Nikopomps. Yes, what words can I have for Fatou Bensouda?
You know she's in trouble right now. Somebody's suing her.
Let her be. I am not finished with Bensouda yet, myself, until she pays me $792,000 that I lost for forceful arrest together with Saitoti. They arrested me here. Until they pay me that money. Some of you think that I am just here shocked. Not me. Not me. There is more coming, Mama. Mama, give me a signal. Mama. This time it will be my father. Give me a signal. $798,000, which I lost, which I paid my lawyer, which I used. I lost my job in Sky News. If you don't pay me that, your home in Hampstead will be under the hammer. You can threaten Bemba, who has no house in London. You, I will get you Fatou Bensouda, if you didn't know. You are joking. Some of these guys here run around here. Oh, they went to Nakuru and they said, Masanga should not be introduced. Did you do the work yourselves? Did you? Your lawyers took your money for free. I had done the damage for you. I'm suffering here. And you go on boasting around. Oh, we are living. What? Nye. Bado. Get the right advice. I went to court to sue, to get the Kenyan envelope. I don't want to see the names. I want it removed because it was a bad document. A Kenyan is watching. Do you Kenyans see? Do you see what I see or you don't see? Do you know that this thing is going to come? Do you know you want to become presidents again? Do you know that one person will wake up and finish the dream? Do you know? I'm helping you, but you don't know. If we don't remove that document and make it a sealed document, a corrupt document, that justice working, connived with external dark forces of Mr. Rui Moreno Ocampo and the late Kofi Annan. They doctored the names, picked the names, wrote the names. That document is bad. It should not be in Kenyan history. Because it doesn't help the victims, it doesn't help the suspects. It still remains in history. People will talk about it. Why do you leave such a document hanging in your books, in Parliament? What is Duale? Duale is doing what? They are to occupy offices. Why don't they move to remove the document? Tomorrow, one Englishman in London, or in Brussels, or Luxembourg, or in Paris, I bet, when Matsanga is not there, one Englishman or one white man will stand in one of the city as you visit as head of state, or as you visit as a former head of state, and say, I have not finished this thing. There is something that before you board the plane, there's something that we can discuss in Luxembourg, in a Brussels court, before you go. It will take you centuries to come out of Brussels. If you didn't know, you hype about 2022 and hype about this and that. You don't know. Hype about it. Think about those. Think about telling people off. Some of us are telling you nicely, intellectually, look at this document, throw it out. I and Arusei, that guy from the Rift Valley, I am the one who allowed Arusei and said, let him come in to help me to get this work envelope. Work envelope is a dark planet in the system of Kenya. It must be removed. One judge on the Supreme, that man chased me around. I went to Kagera, Nairo River, Athi River, then we went to Kathiani, Kagera, Kwatwat. Which other river is here?
Turkana.
Yeah, I survived to drown. Where am I now? I'm here.
You survived Tana River?
Where there are crocodiles. I went everywhere. Oh, the 2 years. 2 years. 2 years in that court. Telling me I'm in Arusha. Oh, I'm in this. I'm in Ivory Coast. Wagwan. These are the judges you have. That's the judiciary of Kenya you have. Let's look at, give me another 7 minutes. And I want to look so that Miriam, we kick off the Sudan debate in exactly 10 minutes, so that the Sudan case, and then you tell me, ask me what you want to know about Cameroon especially. I'm more interested in Cameroon and Amazonia, their lives, their statutes, their position, what is happening to them. I will be very much dignified to have a say about the people, the plight of the people of Amazonia. And then later on in the afternoon, we shall have our correspondent, Dr. Ali Muhta, who is in Sudan. It seems the scene is turning ugly. Very ugly. Very ugly. Yes. And last night, very late last night, he's not sleeping. He's sleeping on top of one of the hotels where almost of the residents have gone. All the tourists who were caught up there. Dr. Muhta was returning to have a meeting with me, but he was caught up in Khartoum. Yes. So he's on Cathay Hotel, one of the best hotels, tallest building in Khartoum. He's seeing all these things that seem to have turned ugly, and one side is hitting the other. and it might be bloody. So thank you very much, viewers. 10 minutes, only 5 minutes, and I finish on touching
the dam money.
Ask me.
What's happening? Is it lost?
Was it
lost?
The dam money? His Excellency the President told us, please, we are not a narrator. We don't want to narrate the story. But I want Kenyans today to listen to me on this. It is yesterday that exactly what I've been telling some people quietly. I told them CMD Ravenna is external agency system of the government of Italy. People could not believe me. I have done a due diligence though. Oh, I have the documents. Oh, in Europe you can't defeat me. Oh, I can get you. So, kuja pole pole. Kuja pole pole. The dam money. Yesterday, the deputy president said some money was given to the agents, to the government agents, to the government of Italy. We are not policemen.
That is what the deputy president was saying during the interview.
Yeah, he said it.
I didn't watch the whole.
Do you know what he said? He said the money is not lost.
Okay.
He has maintained that. The money is not lost. In fact, he said
the whole 21 billion or
for them to lose 21 billion, and I quote, for them to lose 21 billion, him, we, the debate turned into we. That's all I had.
So who is we?
We, him and the president.
Oh.
So the debate turned into we and a wagwan. This debate ended up, one word that finished me. One word that finished me, whoa. Can I say it? That if we had to lose 21 billion, we could be a casino. Is it a casino? Can I read exactly what he said?
Where you go and gamble. So this might
because people want to kill me because I've written the best thing ever for any human being to read. I said, and I'm I'm honest. At times is what is killing me in Kenya. Kenyans don't know that the man you are dealing with, Ogwa. Yeah, this guy tackles difficult things, though. That's why I was able to bring Konyo on the table, because I'm a tough guy, and that's why I'm able to get Riaka Machar. You know why? To come out, he wouldn't come out. In South Africa, it's me. How many telephone calls I made through my backyard diplomacy? And let's come to that. But let me read what I wrote, which is very, very good, that someone could say thank you very much. It says, the deputy president last night on TV said, you are saying Uhuru and myself can lose Kenya shillings 21 billion. Are we running a government or a casino?
He should answer that.
No. I mean, he was asking Mohammed. Mohammed, and in a nutshell, he was also asking us. Because we viewers who were watching and interacting
wanted the answers.
I wanted the answers, but he asked us. So this is the answer. The answer is this. Bas, God save Kenya.
Is that enough? So what happened to because he's stuck with 7 billion, is he now agreeing it's 21 billion? Remember?
Madam, I have said, God save Kenya. That's all. The answer I can give. Because if you do what we call a due diligence on the company called CMDI Ravenna, you would run and ask God, where is heaven or hell? And of course, you just run and say, give me hell. Nianguke kwa moto. Nikufe. Who is this who authorized this company to do business with Kenya? Who? Let's now ask the questions for Kenyans. Who authorized this company? Did we do a risk assessment on this company? Who is this company? In Italy, this is the most feared company. Why is it feared? It's the most feared mafioso company. It is linked to very serious dark places that I cannot explain on this. I will explain them in black and white elsewhere. This is dangerous. And if Kenyans think there is anything they are going to get out of this money, ask for the money back, cancel this. Because this is going to be another Anglo leasing. The mafia in the future will get this money. You remember the mafia man who got the 21 billion?
And apparently the company
is here.
Debts all over the world, even in Italy and
not
Nepal and across.
Okay, ask why.
So they need.
It has debts everywhere.
So they need like the Kenyan money to go
and pay.
Yes.
Now it has debts everywhere. Why is it not even blacklisted?
On the international.
Those who are arguing for this company, muniambie nyenye, muniambie. Niko na evidence, muko ubaya nyenye. You people are very bad. I pity people who will be led by this.
Who will be led by who?
I don't know. If this is the type of life that we are leading, just do a due diligence.
So
to see MD Ravenna, it has been, it has got dates everywhere, but it has never been blacklisted everywhere. Why?
Still get.
Can I tell you why?
From Kenya, yes.
Can I say why? Ask me politely.
Okay, why?
Yes, slowly.
I did.
Miriam, I want you to ask in the normal. That there is a good sound in you. Now you are starting. That good sound is the one that I have. Now you have knocked my heart.
All right. So why is the company not blacklisted across the world? Yes.
It is an external intelligence agency
for Italy.
Hey!
Okay.
Thank you. May God help us. Sindio leo naleta bombshell.
So when the deputy president comes,
mimi nilianza kufanya kazi na Vatican in 1996 when I was campaigning in 1997, 98. Where Riaka Macha is going to sit today is where I sat with Amama Babas, Dr. Obita, James Obita, when we were negotiating, trying to release Aboke girls whom Konyi had kidnapped. There is nothing in the Italian system that I cannot know. I asked my Italian friends to help me. 1, 2, it took only 1 day. They said, what? Cancel the thing. That is all I'm telling Kenya. Because the president has said, we make a narrative. Mr. President, how many prime ministers have resigned?
From Italy.
Hey, because of this company.
Because of this company?
Yes.
Okay.
How many? 3. 1 is banned. Is banned for life, never to seek elective post.
Public elective post.
Berlusconi.
Berlusconi, yes.
The one who came to Kenya here.
Silva.
He did not last for a month.
When did he come to Kenya?
Exactly. He did not. I swear. I was shocked. When they told me this, I feel like I think today I will call the deputy president number and tell him, please, Mzee, Mutoi, this company, let it get out of Kenya.
You don't think they have this level of intelligence?
I don't know. Money can color everything.
But also I want to understand that Dr. Matanga, Deputy President, coming to national television and insisting on the 21 billion is there, and yet right now we know the DCI is still investigating on this. Why can't he just hold his peace until the conclusions are out? The
Do you know what?
report is out.
The threats they are threatening, they threaten the DCI first. You know when you have a gang.
I hope he'd not cower to the...
No. When you have gangsters.
Gangsters, yes.
Gangsters ganging up. If you have a man like Sudi.
He's been quiet.
Yeah, but he knows why. If you have a man like an educated professor, Murkomen, camping somewhere saying, where? Have you seen that madman in the village? Yeah? At night, the night runners who run on behalf of the witchcraft. What did I say yesterday? You did not hear. I said, if you are the owner of the sheep, strike the shepherd.
And the sheep will scatter.
And after the sheep are scattered, then count your sheep.
So others will scatter.
Thank you very much. Can I do a bit of this? Calm down. There is something. Have I told you something today?
I'm listening.
Very strong. Why, you ask the question, why is this company, it gongas people pesa kila pale, but it never blacklisted? Because it's an agency. It's an external wing. It steals money on behalf of the oligarchs.
Oh, the oligarchs. I thought they're only in Russia.
No,
they're
oligarchy everywhere.
They're all over.
They have spread all over East.
Okay.
You remember? You remember Italian mafia in Sicily? It has an origin of oligarchies. Am I wrong? Trace back this company. If a man from the Holy See can tell you, those good was a man with a rosary every day. This friend of mine, I have friends there in the Vatican. Maybe that's why God has kept me. They pray for me every day. That he hold African peace. Oh, Matanga, hold African peace, please. They are praying. The man says, which company is that? Oh, he said, oh, did you give them some money? Yes, I said, we have a problem here. Me, I will not go in details whether it is lost or not. Whether it is how much, whether it is a penny, whether it's $1. The taxpayer wants to know where the money went. And I think we have so anybody, the taxpayer, anybody should not threaten anyone, whether it is on a bank guarantee or whatever. I'm now giving you some things to raise your temperature.
I just want to be at monotone. and just count things from this side, but it's very suspect. I watched part of the Deputy President's interview, and I think I had other things to do, so I didn't finish the whole of it. But I caught when Hussein was really pressing him on corruption and, of course, the dam, and him insisting the money is still there. And I just didn't know where that conversation was going, so I just went to, I think I went to CNN or something.
No, I watched up to the last bit. There are two things that I came out of my mind. I don't want anymore to talk about this issue.
Yes. So we go to
something. No. From today,
yes,
this issue, I have the information. I know what happened. Let's wait until the deputy president, until the DCI, DPP, because none of them as there is nobody who is a suspect charged yet.
Yes, investigations.
So the word "we" brings me in more confusion.
It's a conflict there. So
can I withdraw myself from today?
Okay.
That I will not discuss. I'm asking quietly. I'll only, unless it pains me so much.
Then you'll talk about it.
Yes, but now I know the truth. My truth plus what I have, I put it together. I said the only thing I want to tell Kenyans and the government, if they have ears to hear, cancel the contract, early stage. And that's it. If the money was kept by the Italian government, which they said they gave, return it. And get another company in the world to do
the construction of the dams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't that the best thing?
That would be the most moral thing.
Get another company.
Straightforward.
Cancel this one. Get another company.
Since the money is there.
Because at least since the money is there.
Yes.
Because we said the money is not lost.
Since the money is there.
So can we cancel this contract? Save Kenyans all this mess, this shouting and accusation, name calling, and us getting stressed because of you.
No, we do not
want
blood pressure.
Cancel this. Given that nobody did a due diligence.
And you start afresh.
We start afresh.
With the different companies.
That's the best way.
That don't have.
If we are out to save people's skins, because it looks like in this saga, some people are saving their friends.
Their own, yes.
So we should not be a party to it. Let's not be killed in the middle. We were only trying to help. But I've told you, frankly, Kenyans, it is very difficult to recover money from CMD Ravenna company of Italy. It's a government institution. It's an arm of an external institution. So you go and ask them. That's why they can go everywhere. You know, several countries in Netherlands.
Yes, and I think yesterday I also asked you why hasn't the Italian even ambassador to Kenya came out and gave statements and even
because it's embarrassing
and talked about
it. It will be very
quiet.
Do you know what it will bring out?
Considering that we got money from the Italian government.
Oh, don't go there! Don't go there! Okay. I can see you crossing a red line.
I just stopped.
They will not. They can't. You see. Google this. Sometime in the 1970s, a very honorable Italian Prime Minister by the name Aldo Moro. Aldo Moro was kidnapped by an unknown gunman, taken as he was driving back home. It was all over the whole world in search for Aldo Moro. The former Italian Prime Minister, very pragmatic, Aldo Moro, very sensible, outstanding statesman, religious, kidnapped on his way home by a group called the Red Brigade. The Red Brigade in Italy was equivalent to the PLO in Pakistan. It was equivalent to Abbas, one of the terrorists, well known. It was equivalent to the IRA in Northern Ireland. But this group abducted Aldo Moro. People worldwide mourned Aldo Moro, tried to say, how much money do you want? Whatever you want, we pay it. My production dream, Google Aldo Moro, Prime Minister of, and send the information I'll tell you, but I'm telling you, which I have here. Guess what they did? Mm-hmm. After millions and millions and millions of dollars, pounds, everybody collected money worldwide saying, please, this man was a very good man. The Red Brigade killed Audamoro. He died. He's from Italy. So, do you know, you get me what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's very delicate.
It's a very delicate.
So you can put your dots and the marks and the marks and the dots together, together.
And see where this is leading us.
So, viewers, thank you very much. Thank you. Do we take a breather?
No. We don't have much time for a breather.
We don't have much time left.
Just before we jump to what we're going to talk about today, the long road to peace in South Sudan, and will the Vatican bring some sense of sanity this time round? President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is in the United States, and he had a meeting with President Donald Trump yesterday, and President Donald Trump praised him as a great president, doing a great job. But when he was asked about what his thoughts about President al-Sisi's wanting to extend his term in office, they really ceremoniously avoided to answer that question. So what would, especially his visit to the U.S., would it have any effect, especially as a leader of the AU? Will that have anything, maybe some changes in the AU? President al-Sisi's visit to the United States, how will that affect? Will it even have any effect?
Can I tell you why al-Sisi is in the United States? Mm-hmm. Who is supplying General Khalifa Haftar?
It's al-Sisi.
Have I answered your question?
And al-Sisi is very good friends with the United States.
Yes. The planes that are hitting Tripoli are coming from Egypt.
Yes, that has been confirmed.
Not even confirmed. I am. You challenge me. You challenge me on this. And I bring you the data in black and white. Mm-hmm. The planes that are bombing the international recognized government in Tripoli are coming from Egypt.
So this peace that al-Sisi wants to talk about in...
Well, to talk what? Yeah, al-Sisi should not even travel to Kenya or Uganda. Let him stay there. He's the chairman of African Union. What chairman? I told you. This is a joke. The planes that are bombing the government in Tripoli, which is internationally recognized by the African Union, by the AU, backed by the United, is coming from Egypt.
Okay.
And the UAE, they backed Khalifa Mukhtar. Khalifa. Haftar. General, my friend, I met him long time ago.
Where, in Chad?
Don't worry.
He was captured in Chad for a while. And
No. Before he fell out.
Okay, with the government.
Yeah, yes. You know, Libya used to be a place for where every African liberation movement to go.
It used to be a hub.
Yeah. If you want to pick quick guns in Africa, you just go to Libya and liberate yourself. So don't ask me too many questions.
I know, because
even Baba was also there. All of us.
Even Amin ran there.
Not even Amin. Before
going to Saudi
Amin
Arabia.
had to bring the Libyans to Tanzania.
Yes.
They were speaking the word Mahara. I don't know what Mahara means in Arabic. Somebody out there tell me in Africa. Yes, Mahara. You walk on them, they are saying Mahara.
Okay.
So, but General Haftar, Khalifa Haftar, who is supporting Khalifa Haftar?
Al-Sisi.
Is Al-Sisi.
Yes.
He went for his paycheck.
In the United States?
Yes!
Okay.
He got it now.
Payday for Al-Sisi.
And they timed it when the troops are entering Tripoli. You know, from Benghazi, he bypassed Misrata,
yes.
Went down in the desert. Where did planes live in that desert? Where? Tell me. Where? If they are not planes from Mauritania, who is in Mauritania? Who is in Mali? Tell me. Tell me. Tell me. When you tell Kenyans, they think you are a madman. Tell me, who is in Mauritania? The French. Who is in Mali? The French. Who has been struggling with Khalifa Haftar to get the oil? The French. With who? United States. Then Italy is left on its own. Italian Prime Minister is crying war in Tripoli. While the plane is using surveillance units from Mali and Mauritania and then Cairo and other bases, Alexandria, they go. They eliminated the enemy for this man to pass all through the desert to arrive near Tripoli.
And he arrived there the other day. He bombed the only workable.
He's very close. He's inside. He's about to enter the city. Another massacre. Another massacre. Prepare for another massacre. Look at the world. Look at where we are going. Look at the situation. Wagwan. May God help us.
Indeed, may God help us. So,
is Assisi, ask me, is the chairman of African Union?
We're in big trouble.
Did Assisi ask that why are people in Cameroon being killed?
I don't think he even cares about that.
He doesn't care?
I don't think they do.
How can he care when planes that are bombing Tripoli are coming from Chad? You remember Macron was in Chad? What did he do?
No, Macron was in Egypt and even went there.
Now my partner, is something clicking up for you?
Well, you just join the dots and you know. Our viewers can...
Is something clicking up? Have you seen? As soon as Al-Sisi was given the chairmanship of African Union, no sooner had he been installed.
Not before, I think.
No, before.
Before, yeah. Macron
5 days before also.
Yes.
Macron.
Al-Bashir went all the way.
Yes.
And you were wondering why.
Bashir was bargaining.
Yes.
Please.
An exit.
Let me have an exit. Bashir was denied exit. He gave too many conditions. I'm now telling you another story. This afternoon I'll tell you something very... You'll cry. There is no international relations. It's only international interests. If your child who is growing tells you, Mama, I'm studying international relations, tear the report.
Okay.
So you cannot expect Ms. Haftar, General Haftar, Khalifa Haftar, to have planes that are bombing the whole of that desert. Knowing the surveillance, the imagery, the satellite pointing at the precise places where you conquer all these rebel groups.
Very organized.
Very organized. There you are. So when will Amazonia get independence? You see, they have sold out.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, our viewers, for keeping us company and for joining us and also engaging with us. Paul Kagi, you're saying, Dr. David Matanga, what will you say about another Italian construction company constructing roads in Juba? And Abraham James, you're saying, I have seen two African people who are now telling everything to their people for the long walk to freedom. And also Michael Othur, you're saying there will be no change in Vatican with the retreat with South Sudanese leaders. And also... Yes, I think, so South Sudan, I can see a lot of our viewers here are really interested for us to talk about it. And also maybe we can touch on Amazonia before we end the show. So the long road to peace in South Sudan, will the Vatican bring the sense of sanity this time round?
Yes.
You think?
Do you know why?
Why?
Why I'm convinced for the first time that peace is going to return to South Sudan is the people involved in setting up this meeting. Ask me.
And who are these people?
St. Gideon. My friends of St. Gideon. That is Matanga Part 2, St. Gidio in the Vatican. Why I speak strong is St. Gidio.
You have confidence.
Oh, yes! Because, you know, this is a friend, you pick a phone and they say, no, help here.
But it's your friend.
And he does.
Your friend might be helping, but these two people...
No, that's why, you know, Riaka knows that they are the only people who can deliver peace.
But of course they are.
From there, what was lacking in this peace is that religious prayer. Both men are Christians.
Are they?
Yes, Mr. President Salva Kiir is a Catholic. Dr. Riek Machar is Anglican.
And the sleep.
Now, wait, let's go now. The only group that can deliver the peace that you see that is going to be delivered in Sudan, if they come out of this, the group, any peace process, and let me teach some so-called diplomats, they walk around here with suits. There is no peace process that can ever be there if there is no guarantor.
So the Vatican, the Pope now is the guarantor.
Ah, yeah! Katonda wa Israeli webale nnyo. Mulinya lya Katonda n'omwana n'omwoyo omutukuvu. Amina. Inshallah, the Muslim would say, Mungu, I don't know what Muslims say. Somebody should write here for me. That is the only place that you will see a peace guaranteed. There is no peace without a guarantor. And this is what I told people in 2013. I told Amina Mohammed, she was the Minister of Foreign Affairs of this country. I wrote a document. I said, Madam, if you don't get the United Nations taking over Sudan, and let's be very honest today, all these measures, does IGAD have money? Can IGAD put Riek Machar in a hotel for 200 days? Let's talk the truth. Whoa. You need a guarantor. You need a peace guarantor. Somebody who can guarantee, who can access resources to keep South Sudan peaceful. Today, it doesn't have even money to buy essential commodities, medicines, food. You need a guarantor. The only guarantor that can come is the Vatican. And the only way to guarantee, remember Vatican is a state. It's a state like Uganda. It's a state like Kenya. It is recognized even in the United Nations.
It is.
They sit, they have envoys.
It's a country on its own.
It's a country on its own. It is the only country in the world that can guarantee in terms of resources, in terms of money, logistics for disarming, doing a DDR. Ask me, what is DDR?
And what is that?
Yes, demobilization, reintegration. Demobilize, deploy, and reintegrate.
And one of our viewers here, I think, was from South Sudan, and I've been trying to trace that comment they made earlier at the beginning of the show, and they were saying whatever photos we're seeing that will be coming from the Vatican is just a PR stand. The two leaders are not really ready for a peace process and to really end the conflict that is happening right now in South Sudan. And what would you say to that?
He's saying what?
One of our viewers earlier, I think at the beginning of the show, did not been trying to trace that comment, and he said whatever will be happening at the Vatican today, the two leaders, President Kiir and his deputy Riek Machar, whatever photos we'll see from there will just be for the PR purposes, but these two people are not really ready for a holding peace in South Sudan.
That is not, you know why the peace was not holding in South Sudan? There was no guarantor. Ask me. I've been in the peace process for a long time. You need, for us to have achieved peace in northern Uganda, we had a guarantor. One of the guarantors was St. Gidio, the Vatican.
Okay. So you have an experience with that?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that's why I'm very happy today that I had to fight tooth and nail to make sure that someone in Sudan, however bad it is, thank you very much, the chief of staff in the palace, where Bashir, contacts can matter. You know, don't think everything in Sudan is gone down. Telephone call was very good. Yes, and Mr. Riaka will have his documents to leave. So, the guarantor is very important. You know why? You need a guarantor who will give money shortage. Governments can promise money, but they don't supply resources. There is no guarantor in the Sudan process. It wasn't there. For example, you want to do demobilization, DDR. Where is the money going to come from? St. Gideon has done all this in Africa. St. Gideon negotiated Renamo. Remember in 1998, I and Chisano, I sat in that hall, where they are going to sit today. In Rome.
They're probably sitting, I'm not sure. But
yes, where they are going to sit today. With Chisano waiting for the Gama. The man made us wait from morning. We drank a tea. You know the place, they brought sausages, sandwich. We were waiting with the late Kiplagat.
Bethel.
You know, late Kiplagat.
The ambassador.
The ambassador was on the other side of the Kama. For us, we had gone in there as negotiating for the Aboke girls. So it coincided with the meeting of the Renamo signing a peace agreement with Frelimo. That's how I knew Chisano.
That is in Mozambique, Frelimo.
Frelimo and the Renamo are all in Mozambique.
Yes.
They were fighting each other, brutal war.
Yes.
So the final agreement was in Rome. That's how I knew Dr. Fabio and others of St. Gideon. Very powerful organization. When it says it likes you, it likes you. If it is Pope talking. When you talk to St. Gideon, you are talking direct
To the Pope.
To the Holy See. Can you swim out of the Holy See and come back and fight? You will be caught in the middle. God, the Spirit will come down for you, I'm telling you.
But these two don't have conscience.
Don't worry. Let's go on. Let me explain to you. Dakama said he was coming. Bukura, he was coming. Bukura, he's coming today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
From 10 o'clock, we sat in that hall. Journalists got tired. We did not know that the late Dakama of Mozambique was asking for $2.5 million in cash. Have you heard that? Can you hear?
In cash?
In cash.
For what?
Before he signs the agreement.
Look at that.
But I'm now telling you, I'm telling all my viewers to understand what some of us have gone through. $2.5 million.
So that was supposed to cushion him against what? Or for what? Or for payment for what?
To sign the agreement so that the rebels stop fighting with the government.
Very selfish, I would say.
Dakama made us sit until 8:25 at night.
Was he given the money?
Well, yeah, let me tell you. The late Kiplagat died when he could not step in Mozambique.
Why?
Because Chisano became the president, who had told Dakama to get the money. Someone told Dakama, if they don't give you this money, ask the Pope. The guy asked the Pope for 2.5 million cash. Italian banks had to be, money had to be located in cash, not check, in cash. $2.5 million. And that's why I'm telling you, you need a guarantor Who in this world, which government has $2.5 million in cash? Not even the ones who steal this damn money. They don't have it in cash. They will need days to assemble it. Am I wrong?
These ones who have stolen.
No, I don't know, but there's no. I told you, don't take me there. I don't want to hear that. Today, I don't want to hear.
Okay.
It is only today that we can talk about it. The holiday in our show. Do you want the People's Court? I think we do the People's Court a bit today.
Later on. So you have confidence that now that Pope has come in.
Exactly. Exactly. My daughter,
there should
exactly.
be some hope for a life.
A very good hope.
And when they come back, do you think it's time for them to unify the army and not have these fractions of militia all over the place?
Now, the guarantor. Sing from...
Should be the condition.
From today.
Yes.
From today, sing the word guarantor.
Not sponsored.
Guarantor.
Guarantor, yes.
Guarantor. Guarantor. Why the peace agreement of South Sudan has been collapsing, there was no guarantor. All these governments talk, papa. Kenya tried. Kenya gave a lot of support.
I know.
But Kenya cannot get all its money with all the problems they also have, or Uganda.
And the refugees you have to take care of.
Yes, you have to take over refugees, yes. You have to sacrifice. Government cannot sacrifice the money that Sudan wants. It has gone to the right situation. Look at my paper in 2013. Bring it up if you have. Bring the paper.
And well, they do that so far. Around 380,000 people have died over and above, and over 4 million have been displaced. So when we come here and say these two leaders, one of them is a Catholic, the other one is an Anglican, basically they're Christians, where is the conscience? Because this is not just numbers. This is people that have died because of them taking hardline positions.
Yes.
How do they sleep at night?
That's why they need Pope's guidance.
And prayers.
Yes. And Mark, you look here. And I'm just sounding. Yesterday I was telling Riak and his people. Quite seriously, I told Riak, you know this is the last chance. 380, that is my document. I want people, if you can write for them where they can pick the document. That is my document in 2013, breaking cycles of violence. That's it. If you use that, look at that document. What they are doing today is what I told them. How many years ago? 6 years ago. I gave that document to IGAD, to the Foreign Minister, Madame Amina Mohammed, to give to others. This is my state, my document. I researched, sat down and said, the only way that you can bring about peace in South Sudan, you can only do it through that document. Less than that, you know how many years they have taken around? How many hotels they have gone to?
Since 2013.
They have ended up back on Matanga document. This is it. Guarantor. You need a full guarantor. The person who will guarantee the peace process, the person who will run for food, for medicine, for blankets, for money to run the government. St. Gideon can mobilize the resources. None in the government in East Africa here can give Sudan the money they want. You need the Vatican to come in, to mobilize, to give the spiritual nutrition. And then after the spiritual nutrition, what do? You bring the material nutrition.
You take them to the holy city.
What the IGAD was doing was only mouth.
Yes.
Mouth. There was no spiritual, but they were saying, cool down your guns. Then if they cool down, what do those soldiers eat? South Sudan has no money. Their oil is not selling. The war has ravaged everything.
Everything.
They need a guarantor. And of those students watching me, remember me here. I'm the one who wrote that document. You can get it on www.panafricanforum.ltd.com.
Okay. So one of our viewers here is saying, his name is Alex Bati, saying, I'm watching from Nigeria, I'm South Sudanese, and he's asking, will Dr. Riek attend the retreat? I think,
yes.
According to the Vatican Press Services, Sudanese President Salva Kiir, rebel leader Machar, and religious leader from South Sudan.
We worked on that problem yesterday.
Yes.
There are some documents that I cannot show here publicly.
So he will be there.
But we have worked, we intercepted a few of those problems, and we have solved it. It will be allowed, because you needed, as we talk, Sudan is under fire, and Riek was in Khartoum.
Yes.
Therefore, we needed clearance from the head of state of Sudan, and you need to get that clearance through friendship. It's not it's friendship, and the people whom Bashir trusts before. Yes.
Okay. And also the widow of the late Mabior, Rebecca Nyandeng, is a part of the.
She's part of, because she's very significant in the politics, yes. Because she keeps the spirit of both men strong.
And her late husband's vision that he had for the country.
Had that man been alive, there would have been no South Sudan. There would be Sudan. I'm telling you.
What did you say again?
And I want you to listen to me.
Yes, I'm listening very carefully.
Had Garang been alive, there would be no South Sudan. There would be Sudan.
So is it a good thing that he died? What are you saying?
No, he should not have died.
Yes, that was unfortunate.
Had he been alive, there would be a good Sudan united. There would be no war today.
Yeah, but Darfur was still happening before that.
No. There would be no Darfur, there would be no South Sudan, there would be one united Sudan. Garanga's vision was a united Sudan, where Arab, black live together. I'm telling you, read that man. I was with Riek in 1985, 86 in Runda, in a house in Runda. We sat for 7 hours. Remember, we are the people who gave Dr. Riek Garang a base in Kampala. But we were overthrown in 1985. We ran like a chicken. Yes. I tell the truth. Me, I don't want to say it is there or not there. It's lost or not lost. I'm honest. We ran like a chicken on 27th of July 1985. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, we were overthrown by our own army, led by Basilio Okero and Okero, General Tito Okero. And they thought they were going to live longer. 6 months later, they were also overthrown by General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. We are the government that gave Garang the bases in Uganda to fight against the Arab-dominated North. Garanga's philosophy was a united Sudan. Garanga was in for changing rights for people in the entire Sudan to have equal rights.
Equality.
He was fighting for equality. He was fighting for humanity. He was not fighting for division. That's why Garanga managed to wield power in all these 4 rebel forces. How many times Riek Machar went out and in, came back? Garanga was very accommodative because he wanted a united Sudan. The late Garang, may his soul rest in peace. The man, 7 hours, we sat in Runda. Myself, Otai, Peter Otai, and several, Smith Oponochak, all of us. And we thank President Moi at that time for having given us the sanctuary, but he turned on us later on, and we had to scatter. But this is it. This is the truth I'm now telling you. You wanted me to say this.
Yes.
We sat down, Garanga talked of a united Sudan. I said, what? Then I asked one question, but a united Sudan, when the North is killing the South, he said, no, whatever happens, a united Sudan is the best way out for the people of the entire Sudan. Because of the resources crossing over borders. He did not want this Abyei fight, the fight for the Abyei Peninsula in the great, great states. The fight, there is a bigger fight. After you finish this one of Riyak, there is another one waiting in Abyei Peninsula. You know, it is being manned by neutral forces from AU and other bodies.
And the UN, yes.
You know?
Yes.
There is quite a lot of confusion in South Sudan that we need only the Pope and the Pope only and the Pope today.
And some spiritual retreat there, I think, will work. And one of our viewers here, Maker Mayom Guraj, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You're saying 30,000 barrels of oil every day contracted to China for the construction of Bahr el Ghazal major highways. What is your point of view on this agreement?
The 30,000 barrels?
Yes, of oil every day contracted to China for the construction of Bahr el Ghazal.
But is the oil flowing?
Major highways.
Yeah, is the oil flowing? If it is flowing, we ask for an extra five minutes on top of this from our broadcaster, the carrier in Germany. Another 5 minutes so that we touch something on Amazonia. I can see we have 3 minutes. But we want 5 on top of the hour. When you look at the situation in South Sudan, the situation presents a guarantor. It needs what I wrote. South Sudan needs to be put under the auspices of a United Nations and a guarantor. You need a UN special envoy for South Sudan who will actually police the law, the war, disarmament, reintegration, the peace process itself, the ceasefire. You need that person. Then you need a guarantor who will supply money in terms of giving them money for the government to run. You cannot talk of forgiveness, redemption classes without money. You need this St. Gideon to be able to give funding to all these institutions that are coming. And St. Gideon, my brothers in St. Gideon are the best that they can do forever. I have friends.
Yes.
You know why I'm still here? It's because of friends. Because I touched the hands of Pope.
Oh, you did? You
Yes, long time. In that place where Riyak is going to sit.
You kissed the ring. Okay. And one of our viewers, Emmanuel Migio, saying, Dr. Masanga, you're right. That peace can only be sustained if there is a guarantor or guarantors. Beside that, how about the call from different political parties who are insisting that? They're insisting that is missing is all the peace process, is the failure to address the root causes of the issues of South Sudan. Considering your analysis for achieving sustainable peace in South Sudan, how could you put the root causes beside the guarantor? Like, what are some of the root causes?
Exactly. That's what the root causes of South Sudan, of the war in South Sudan, is the failure to find the root causes.
The failure. That is the root cause.
The root causes in South Sudan.
They're just dancing around the root causes.
I'm not.
I'm saying them.
You pick my point.
Nobody wants really to address the
Exactly.
issue. They're just addressing the symptoms.
And the only thing that you can address the root causes of the war in South Sudan is to have a guarantor, a person who can facilitate people-centered peace process, a people-initiated peace process.
Thank you. And that is what the Constitution of Kenya says, but you know.
People-centered.
Sudan, yes.
The people in Sudan must discuss. They must talk.
Must be part of the process.
On the process.
And on the
not
process.
the top leadership-centered process.
Forget the selfish individuals.
So what St. Gideon is going to do which it did in northern Uganda, which it did in Frelimo Beira, the Beira Triangle that has been destroyed
in Mozambique
by a cyclone and
I die.
Is what they are going to do in South Sudan. You give them a chance, 6 months, 9 months, we shall be smiling here. Why the government, the war is erupting every day in South Sudan is because, it's okay, is because, you know why? The war is erupting in South Sudan because there is no money. You have signed a dry piece of paper in Addis Ababa,
but there's no
on 12th of September.
Mechanism of putting structures in place and starting a work.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ask.
Okay, I'll ask Nong Chu. I think I have a question about South Cameroon, and you're saying French Cameroon used to claim that they were democratic, but Mr. Paul Biya has shown to the world that he's a pure dictator by imprisoning anyone who dares raise an eyebrow against the dreams of his immediate cycle of friends. How can a world look and underlook or overlook the system if the world was not interested and centered on international interest? And Mayuen Angara, thank you so much. You're saying Dr. Garang's wife was the root cause of war by pushing Dr. Riak to fight the government.
Yeah, okay. He's right.
All right.
Me on South Sudan, I said the truth. Yes, she's also part of the problem.
The root cause.
Because, because they have not mixed the vision of Dr. Garang. None of them understands the vision of Dr. Garang.
She's a very political figure.
Yes, they don't understand the vision of Dr. Garang. Some of us who actually follow, who have books of Dr. Garang, who have read the books, sat with Dr. Garang for a long time, 7 good hours. In Uganda those days, you could find him there seated, and he could give you, from his talk, you can say, this is the kind of leader who should lead Africa.
You're able to get his hand.
Yes. Dr. Garanga was like Muammar Gaddafi. If you sit with Muammar Gaddafi for 1 minute, 2 minutes, even your blood, his sickness.
Where, in the desert?
No, here in AU.
Okay.
I sat with him for a long time. I took, when I was fighting the ICC, he took my books. He found me and said, can I have many of these books? You look like you'll be a good fighter for Africa. I took Mr. Famba MC and other youths who had, including Moses Kuria.
Oh, the one in on.
Yeah, Moses Kuria had to come to give out my books.
Okay.
They left, you know, they left these ICC books to me. Didn't I tell you the story how I was arrested with ICC books at Ethiopian airport?
You said.
And some ambassador who was there switched off her phone. My problem goes very deep.
Okay, yes.
I was arrested at night, 12 midnight. I was going to be put on the plane back because I had carried 2 suitcases of CDs of ICC, smuggling them into Addis Ababa, African Union. Look at this Matanga who has suffered. And then somebody comes here, stands here, and points fingers on me every day. Oh.
Okay, so
you know what?
Let's just come
Kibaki was sleeping.
Yes.
The people who said we shall meet you at the airport, Hakuna Mutu. The ambassador switched off the phone, the husband switched off the phone, everything. They left me arrested. This is a Ugandan arrested with documents, CDs, 2 suitcases. I know, I don't want to tell you who gave them to me. He's here. He's away now. He's somewhere. But I suffered with those suitcases until I picked a phone and called the chief of intelligence of Ethiopia, my friend. You know, friendship has saved me. Because we used to stay together, to work together in Ethiopia Relief Association when I was the chairman of Uganda Relief Association. And I said, call the Prime Minister, my friend. Zanawi, tell him Dr. Matanga is at the airport. He has been refused. And they have arrested me with my material as an activist. The guy sent me, I looked at these boys when I was going out. You know how poor, how I am, you know? I said, now you see the power. The man, that chief sent people, the men who came there. I saw everybody, look, at the airport doing this, doing this. I said, now I'm going home, man. I'm going inside. I arrived in my hotel. Moses Kuria is he, if he's here or he's in Dubai listening. Moses Kuria, don't do this, I will curse you. They were my people waiting to give out these documents. But everybody feared to carry them. This Ugandan heavy giant you see here carried them.
Okay.
To save people.
From the ISIS.
So I met, the following morning, I went to meet. Whom do I go to meet? Gaddafi. When he had read this. He had read the CD. Diplomats gave him a CD. Then he said, where did this money for these books? This is very good. The CD. I will play the CD this afternoon. I have a copy. Okay. So I went to Sheraton Hotel. Gaddafi was down in the garden, alone. Then they looked for me. They said, the president of Libya wants to talk to you. Hey? I said, what? This one, now I'm going to the desert. Sure. And I called my youth. Mr. Famba MC, the current PA of Wamarwa. Womutata. Shamara.
Jennifer Shamara?
Yes! Okay. Those were my youth.
Okay.
They are now in power. Shamara is in power. He's a nominated MP. They made the name out of Matanga Safari. Because I'm not a Kenyan. Had I been a Kenyan, you think that I would not have been nominated in parliament? Would I miss nomination in parliament if I was a Kenyan? Who would refuse me to be nominated in parliament? The work I did for these people cannot be paid by currency. It's paid by the spirit of hard work and unity that Kenyatta is looking for.
All right.
And that's what I'm happy about. So all of them, we went to see Mr. Gaddafi. And that's the only person, the question came, the only person who has a vision of unity in Africa was Garang and Gaddafi. The rest of the leaders, another one who is coming up is this man, His Excellency, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Every time he talks, you have seen, there is no speech that His Excellency will speak and leave Pan-Africa. The conference that is attending in Mauritius, Pan-Africa, that there is that, you know that you can see the leader, that this one could lead Africa. Some of the people, another good leader who could be a good African leader is Museveni. But he has scared people because he has very serious military tactics. But on Pan-Africanism, you can't beat President Museveni. He likes it. He likes to, he can even pay money for Pan-Africanism. If you talk about Pan-African spirit, you will have the money. He likes that interaction. Mugabe, may God hold his hand, give him more time to stay. Mnangagwa, those are Pan-African leaders. Mbeki, Nujoma, Sam Nujoma, the late Agustino Neto. I'm telling you the leaders now. Pan-African men. Forget about Obasanjo. Dr. Obasanjo, if he comes near your country, run. Because you are going to be overthrown. Pan-African spirit. Those ones can remove their money and give you. Bashir. On Pan-African spirit, Bashir he can dismember the whole meeting, and he doesn't like these small gatherings. No. Chikwete. Mwinyi. Then there is Mukapa. You talk about Africa when Mukapa is around and demean Africa. I'm telling you, the African leaders.
But I think Tanzanian leaders have been like that.
Yes, but Mukapa can even tell you off. In fact, he can leave the podium to come for you.
Yes.
And then you know, anakunja shirt. And say, what is your problem? Mukapa, when you talk about an African and demean Africa, those are the leaders in Africa we want. Those are the leaders in Africa we want. We don't have them. We have leaders who threaten us on TV. They threaten you and they want you to keep quiet.
Yes. One of our viewers here, Peter and Daniel, saying, Dr. Matanga, do you think this peace will work without other opposition leaders included? Because it's not only